Welcome back. I hope everyone had a good Turkey Day break. Today I have a bite-sized review of a game called Tales of the Tiny Planet, something I imported on a whim from Europe just because it looked interesting to me. Because the Switch is region-free, I do occasionally like collecting strange games that never come out in the US, or are only released overseas as long as they have English on them. After some brief research, I discovered this game was originally a mobile game before being ported over to the Switch, and for whatever reason being published physically in Europe by a company called Funbox Media. Anyways, here's a look at Tales of the Tiny Planet. Tales of the Tiny Planet is a puzzle game where your goal is to get a small, gooey planet through a series of platforms to the black hole at the end of the level. Most levels fit entirely on one screen and take 20 seconds or much less to complete. The catch is you only can control the various platforms on any given level, and all at the same time. Partly due to its mobile roots, this is also a one-button game, meaning you press B to interact with the platforms and let go to reset them to their original state. The game is then played out over a series of 6 worlds, each containing 12 levels, increasing just a little with complexity as you advance. I completed the entire game in about 2.5 hours, meaning this is not at all a puzzle game to test your brain at all, and more of a lighthearted platformer if anything. But the Switch version of this game has a couple other things to keep your attention. First of all, the game can be completed, for the most part, by averaging 2 stars or so on each level. But if you went for the 3-star time, get ready to die over and over and over again trying to get the perfect run. Not that it matters though, because the game resets instantly and encourages you to keep trying, making it very kid-friendly as well. In addition to the core mode, there is also a co-op version of the main game where it divides the platforms up between the 2 players. A nice touch to make it more engaging for any co-op fans out there like myself. There's also a marathon mode where you're timed over the course of an entire 12-level set, an added bonus for any high-scored chasers, although oddly enough I can't tell if the game actually tracks your best time or not in this mode like it does for each individual level. Finally, there's also a decent amount of achievements to complete, like 3-starring every level or completing a marathon mode with 10 or less deaths. Doing all that will bump the game from its standard 3-hour or so experience to maybe triple that, depending on how much you want to try the more difficult achievements.
Yay!
So the biggest gripe for me is that once it feels like the levels become interesting, the game is basically over. I don't care a ton about 3-starring the levels with the best times necessarily, so I honestly wish there was maybe twice as many levels to better justify the $15 digital price point or $20 physical import cost. In the later levels where the game starts introducing multiple planets, traps, and portal-esque momentum-based teleports, it feels like it ends too soon. I enjoyed the game enough that I honestly wish there was just more of it, especially the harder and more creative levels, so it's kind of unfortunate it comes to an end when it does, and makes the game design feel a bit shallow in the end. I also want to mention that aesthetically the game is simple, but it works in this case, with the sound and audio being appropriately charming throughout. Tales of the Tiny Planet is not going to end up with a super high score here, but that does not make it a bad game or anything, as it is a fun and charming distraction that is good for playing in short bursts when on the go or for a couple nights of co-op or even solo fun. The added value of being able to play with someone else on the Switch version makes it a bit more refined than its mobile counterpart, especially with the inclusion of additional incentives to replay a lot of the levels and get the lowest time possible, and knocking out all the achievements. Speaking of which, I do plan on doing a top 10 list featuring my favorite mobile ports on the Switch, so be on the lookout for that in the future. Until then, thanks for watching everyone, and happy gaming.